Founded by Steve Mizerak, we've got a great semifinal for you tonight. Larry Hubbart against Steve Mizerak for the right to place Bob Vanover in the championship event. I'm joined by two former world champions. Let's begin with Danny DiLiberto. Danny, tell me a little bit about what Steve Mizerak has to do tonight to organize the tournament and play successful if he's going to get to the final.
Well, he has to divorce his mind from the pressures of promoting and the TV production and all that, which is very tough to do. I mean, I'm amazed that he's gone this far. It's awful tough to do what he's doing and compete, you know, with all these great players. My hat's off to him.
Billy and Cardona, what about the contrast in styles? The Miz, the showman, against the man they call the Iceman, Larry Hubbart.
Well, quite frankly, Mizerak steals the show just about every tournament he gets in because he's so flamboyant with his personality at the table. What Larry really can't afford to have happen is him to get caught up in Mizerak's act because he's pretty shrewd in doing stuff like that, you know, to...
The Miz has him fired. All right, so we're looking for some great showmanship.
Well, anyways, Larry Hubbart, nicknamed the Iceman, certainly has been this route before. He knows not to allow that to bother him. So I look forward to Larry Hubbart playing really a great match against Steve Mizerak this evening and possibly even defeating maybe Mizerak, but it's awful difficult to do that.
The Iceman against the Miz coming up, the opening lag right after this. Final of the Grand Casino Biloxi Billiards Classic. Steve Mizerak on the left, Larry Hubbart on the right, the opening lag for the right to break. Steve Mizerak wanted that one measured off. So let's take a look at the rules for this race to 11. The Pro Express version of 9-ball. We just saw the lag for the break, and take it through it to Billy.
Okay, after the balls are broken, the player at the table then has the option at that time, and only at that time, to push out if he feels that he needs to do that. The incoming player then has the option then to accept the shot or pass it back to the player that pushed. Any foul results in ball in hand. 3 consecutive fouls by either player constitutes loss of game, and the lowest number ball on the table must be hit first. This is a race to 11, and I think it's going to be very, very exciting and close.
Okay, the tournament director, Scott Smith, acknowledging that Larry Hubbart can play away. And Larry's scratching on the break.
You see what happened there? The 9 just missed going in the side, but the cue ball went in. Does that mean that the pockets are bigger for the cue ball?
Well, if you ask Larry, he'll say yes. That will bring Steve Mizerak to the table, playing out of Singer Island, Florida. Number 9 in the senior tour, number 22 in the world overall, and he goes right to work on the 1.
You know, before the balls were broken, matter of fact, even before the lag, Mizerak bumped Larry, and it may have thrown him a little off kilter, which resulted in the bad break that we just saw. Anyways, Mizerak is at the table with the first good opportunity to win game number 1. And it looks like Steve has come to play. He looks quite comfortable.
Hey, Danny, how about the contrast in styles? And, you know, obviously Steve is the showman of the bunch. How does Larry have to concentrate on his playmaking and shot making to stay focused?
Just has to play the balls. He's from a city, Rochester, New York, before Missouri, and he had a great player, Irving Crane, who would instruct him, I'm sure, from the beginning that when it's your inning, play the balls, forget everything else.
Larry Hubbart living now in Lake St. Louis, Missouri, 55 years old, originally, as you said, from Rochester, New York. And he lost earlier in this tournament to Steve Mizerak 11-7, so he's got revenge on his mind.
Yes, he did. Steve Mizerak has the reputation of late, that is, of being a quick starter and a very slow finisher, and that was witnessed actually last night in his match against Bob Vanover, amassing a very decisive lead earlier in the match and just barely hanging on to win that match. And I think that's mainly due because of all the work that he's done in preparation for this tournament. And like Danny alluded to earlier, that it's hard for anyone to produce a tournament and do all the work and play in that tournament and do well, and Steve Mizerak is doing just that.
Well, he's off to a good start here in the first game as Miz looking at the 8, and we'll have the 9 remaining. marching through the rack. And the Miz takes a 1-0 lead over Larry Hubbart. Here at the Seniors Tour, we're on the road in Biloxi, Mississippi. Leading 1-0 over Larry Hubbart. Steve rattles him around and makes one. What about the power behind that break, Danny? He really gets behind that cue ball.
Well, he's always had such a free, loose, swinging stroke. I mean, that and all that weight, he just, it looks like he's hardly swinging and it makes a crack. I mean, he's got some powerful stroke.
It looks like he may try to pocket the 1 ball into the corner pocket, setting the cue ball to the cushion, 2 cushions out for position on the 2. Or else he's opting just to play a safety, which he really hasn't done very well, allowing Hubbart at the table with a nice shot on the 1. Terrible mistake for a player of the caliber of Steve Mizerak to make.
The terminology there is, around pool, is he sold out. He played a safe and sold out, and it's really a no-no to sell out on a safe. And an easy shot, too.
Now, this is the Iceman's first opportunity at the table, and he really has to do well with it, considering he trails in the match 1-0, and he has to shake those early match jitters that most of us experience.
Which he didn't do there, by the way. I don't know if he got to the 2. He might have, another terminology, sewed himself up.
He's really unhappy with the results of his first shot, given
Well, anyway,
a good opportunity.
Pat, you mentioned something about he breaks with another cue. That's just to preserve the life of the tip on the stick you do use.
Well, you're talking about it's the same weight, etc. It's just to preserve the cue tip.
Right.
Now, the way the balls are positioned on the table, Pat, they're very, very difficult on the table to run out. Notice the position of the 4 ball. It's down here. The 3 is over here. The 2 is here. He's going to have to go 2 cushions and up for the 3, and that's going to be very difficult. 1, 2, and up for the 3. But notice he has not only the 9, but the 6 to contend with when he pockets the 3 and tries to go up for the 4. So therefore, he really has his work cut out for him, and it's a very difficult situation that he's confronted with here. I'd be surprised to see him do well with it, but Steve Mizerak, 4-time U.S. Open straight pull champion, has done miraculous things in his past. 1, 2 cushions and back up perfectly in between the 4 and 7. Beautifully executed shot.
Little showing off there.
Great stroke, and that was tremendous because it was the whole game. He fell on. First of all, the 2 to the 3 was tricky, and he fell on this ball just as good as you could.
And you wouldn't think a player at the age of 53 or 54 years old would have the concentration and just the ability left in him to make shots like that. But nonetheless, Steve Mizerak executed that shot just as effortlessly as you could execute it.
In other words, you're saying we're all old. And well, tell me this. I was wondering myself, outside there, they're selling cue sticks and concessions, all billiard equipment. Why didn't anyone come with some wheelchairs and crutches and Geritol and stuff like that? Probably be a good idea, wouldn't it?
I think so. Miz coming around now for the 7 ball.
Spending a little time in addressing the table, an indication that he's comfortable with the angle that he has. 2 cushions out for the 9. I guess when you win the first 2 consecutive games of a match, you start to feel a little bit younger, don't you, Danny?
Oh, it'll certainly loosen up your stroke. But he's played very well.
Steve Mizerak makes it 2 straight. Earlier, we heard from Steve Mizerak to sample his opinion on the goings-on here at the Grand Casino.
The concept came about 2 years ago, where I kept watching golf, tennis, bowling, all in the senior division. And on the regular pro tour, the guys kept getting younger and younger and younger, and I kept getting older and older and older. And I said, why do I have to fight these young, hungry lions? You know, And I said, let's see if we can do a senior tour.
And Steve Mizerak has been able to put together a senior tour, and it's been hailed as effective, as most effective as the seniors golf, seniors tennis, senior bowling. And Mizerak, though, isn't playing like a senior as he's staying at the table, leading 2-0 on Larry Hubbart.
Okay, quickly, very quickly, the 1-ball position on the other end of the table. Right here, the cue ball near the bottom cushion, very closely to that cushion. And look at all that distance there is between the 1 and the cue ball, making it a very difficult shot. But fortunately, the 2-ball rests in front of the corner pocket. If he's able to pocket the 1, he should come up with a shot for the 2. This is the key shot in this rack.
You know, Danny, that's what the amateurs like me say. A lot of green. You get a little nervous on some of those shots.
This is when you have to bear down on the fundamentals. Stay down, hit center cue ball, and watch everything right from where you're at. Because if you do that, you're rewarded with the easy 2-ball.
That particular shot showed me that Steve Mizerak is totally prepared to play this match. That was an extremely difficult shot that he handled with relative ease. He's going to bypass his mark for the side, but fortunately the corner pocket is open.
That was fortunate. But that happens. You have to play fairly well to get fortunate.
Now the 3.
Looks like he's drawing the cue ball back for position for the side for the 4, which he's done nicely.
Well, you're right. Steve does look very focused, perhaps more focused than in the early rounds of this tournament when there were other concerns on his mind. But come time now for the Final 4, he can just step back and play the shots.
Well, he had the benefit of enjoying the jacuzzi earlier this morning, relaxing those tired muscles. Perhaps that may have a little effect, you know, on the outcome of this match.
Oh! Can he get lucky? Can it come back?
Nope.
Despite a little English.
There is a case of the matches going along in his favor, and now in a simple spot he missed. This could turn it around again.
Well, the door is open for Larry Hubbart, who is the world 9-ball champion in 1977 and 79.
Not to mention a couple world 8-ball and straight ball championships.
But you know what that's a direct result of? He lived in that town with Rochester, New York, with Irving Crane, great player. And anytime you have a great player in a town, other players usually follow the greatness. Hubbard was next after Crane, and then there was a young Mike Siegel. And for a while, Hubbard and Siegel went on the road. You know, Siegel was a naive young man. Hubbard took him on the road, showed him the ropes and all that. And for a long time, they were calling him Mother Hubbard.
Now they can call him Old Mother Hubbard since he's on the seniors tour.
Yeah.
Yes, but when he goes to his cupboard, it's really not bare. Very successful businessman,
right.
Director of the APA Association.
That's right, the director of the American Pool Players Association since 1980, a governing body for 150,000 pool players. Now here's Larry.
Watch out.
Oh.
Watch out. Now, once again, as we saw in the preceding match with Bernatjes and Vanover, Bernatjes was guilty of doing the same thing we saw Hubbard just do, scratch on game ball.
Was he a little too relaxed, lackadaisical perhaps on that?
Yeah, he took it for granted. He should have controlled the cue ball to catch it into that first short rail and then hit the other side rail. That was bad control. You know, you can watch this guy play 100 more matches, and he's not going to scratch on the 9.
A gimme for Steve Mizerak. He takes a 3-0 lead. Larry Hubbard chuckles, but it was a tough loss in that game. We'll be right back. In putting together a seniors tour, he leads Larry Hubbard in the semifinal 4-0, and he's at the table.
But you know what he did? The day after he turned 50, he started this tour. The day after.
Some people call it a coincidence. What do you call it, Danny?
I call it what he said. He didn't want to face...
You know, Larry Hubbard will get back to the table. Here's how he arrived. He had to go the tough route. losing to Mizerak 11-6, and having to come back and win 3 straight, including a victory over Toby Sweet to arrive at this semifinal here.
Well, now, once again, Larry is guilty of executing the shot at hand properly, falling short, not locating the cue ball, or positioning the cue ball behind the 8, allowing Steve to see the 1, which is an indication that he's really not comfortable. He doesn't have the feel that he needs to have to go on and win this match.
He might be too loose. You know that? He might be too loose. Because he doesn't look pressured and very concerned. I just think he might be just so happy to be in the semifinals that, you know, his concentration is lost.
Well, we talked a little bit about the, the gamesmanship that allows Steve Mizerak to clown and to joke, but yet when he gets ready for his shot, he's all business, and it's a unique personality that can combine those 2 traits.
This is the key shot of the rack, Pat. If he can attain a shot on the 3 ball, the remainder of the rack should play quite routinely, and that's exactly what he's done. Inadvertently, I might add, running into the 6. Fortunately, coming up with a very nice shot on the 3. He's happy with the results. I look for him to run the remaining balls on the table here.
On the move. There goes the 3.
Things aren't really working out for Hubbart at this time, but like Danny said, most of it is his own doing. Mizerak, the opportunist that he is, certainly taking advantage of the opportunities that he has had. This is another key shot, drawing the cue ball back down table for position for the 6. He's opting to go forward. That's the angle that he had, and that shot worked out much better by going forward. But now the angle that he has is rather awkward. He's going to have to apply a real good stroke on this shot to get back down table for the 8. And watch all the force he puts into this shot. And see, he's got very slow cue ball movement, and maybe not enough. He should have applied more velocity.
He's got it. But you want to know, that shot, the harder he shot, the more the high might have retained, and he still would have went nowhere. That was a tough shot to get downstream with. He did great to do this.
And this is a difficult shot. Stubbornly, but nevertheless finding the bottom of the pocket and coming up with another very testy shot on the 9. These longer shots become much more difficult when you reach a certain age. And what age was it for you, Dan?
Well, not when you're winning 4-0. They're a little easier when you're winning 4-0.
Well, make it 5-0. Steve Mizerak on a roll, routing Larry Hubbart 5-love. We'll be right back. Steve Mizerak enjoying a 6-0 lead over Larry Hubbart. Meanwhile, Larry Hubbart trying to go to war here, down 6-0 in a race to 11, and with a look of consternation on his face, he's not happy with the way the balls lay on the table.
That's exactly right, Pat. You know, the shot that he's confronted with right now may appear to most of us as a simple shot, but the angle that he has on the 1 suggests that if he rolls it in, he may scratch in the side. He's well aware of that, and it's really distracting him somewhat. Notice the cue ball. See how narrowly it missed the side pocket. He was very concerned with that. But fortunately, he was able to muster up enough concentration to deal successfully with that particular shot.
He looked over at Steve Mizerak, who was chuckling, because he's had 2 fouls already and given Mizerak the ball in hand at least twice, I believe, already.
Now, this is really a connected run out. This is something that he desperately needed. Notice the position of the balls. The 3, 4, and 5 are all down by the foot end of the table. The 6 is in front of the side, the 7 to the left of the 6 underneath it. The 8 is on top of the 7. So therefore, this is the type of a run out that he definitely needed to have. The 4 to the 5, it's probably the toughest.
There is nothing tough here.
Well, the position of the 7 may interfere with his concentration somewhat. Being behind 6-0, little things have a tendency to bother you.
But yeah, that's the tough part.
Let's see what happens here. You see? Now, see, he didn't get across table far enough to make this run-out play rather simple. Now he has to do something extra.
Yeah, he would have liked to get straight into this.
Now, he doesn't want to run into the 7 here. He doesn't want to run into the 6. He ran into the 6, and the 6 is going to go maybe in back of the 8. I think it's fallen short, and he does have a shot.
He has a shot.
But
it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault, and he knows it. And like you alluded to before, he is embarrassed with his play up to this point, and totally unsettled. But he does have the reminiscent factor going for him.
The what?
The reminiscent factor.
What does that mean,
What would that
Billy?
be?
Well, you know,
Reminiscent factor.
yes, the reminiscent factor. Last night when Mizerak played Vanover, he
You think someone his age can remember yesterday?
he accumulated a large lead over Vanover, and then Vanover came back into the match and tied it up at 10 apiece. So this is reminiscent of yesterday's match in that regard.
I see.
All right.
I see.
But of course, he may not be aware of it.
Because he was at the next table
Exactly.
battling. All right. Good shot appreciated by the crowd.
And from my vantage point, it looked like he had a lot of room to pocket the 6. He was very indecisive about shooting the ball because he wasn't quite sure whether he had room enough or not. But evidently he did, and his shot-making ability has been diminished quite a bit since suffering this 6-0 deficit.
I think the applause was more of a pity applause, for his sake. They're happy that he made a ball, and now he's on the scoreboard.
That's right. Larry Hubbart gets the first game of the match, but he trails Steve Mizerak 6-1. Back with more right after this. On the board, as Larry Hubbart will now break, trailing Steve Mizerak 6-1 here at the Grand Casino Biloxi Billiards Classic.
Actually, this is the first opportunity, second that is, Hubbart will have of breaking the balls. I noticed that in between racks, Hubbart went over and started to converse with the spectator. He did that probably to try to relax himself somewhat, because it's always good to converse with someone when you're uptight.
No, not true. He asked that guy to go get him his Geritol.
Mizerak now back at the table.
The position of the 3 adjacent to the 2 ball with the 6 ball in between both the 2 and the 3. Mizerak needs to draw the cue ball back about 6 inches. And in doing that, he's going to make the corner pocket play a little bit smaller, but nevertheless, he was able to handle that with relative ease. Okay, here's the 3 ball here. Cue ball should then go 1 cushion, 2 cushions, and back cross table here for the 4 ball, which he'll then play in this pocket. Let's take a look and see if he handles it in this fashion.
It's easier with your finger.
Okay, well, he opted to go a different route.
No, I knew it was easier with your finger.
Well, I've been playing finger pull up here for a long time, so therefore, it's much easier for me to describe that with my finger. If you give me a pull stick, I could never execute it.
What's Steve got here?
A tough shot, but it might be semi-free, because if he misses the 4, it's going somewhere far, and he made a great shot.
He certainly did, and really that particular type of a shot is a very difficult shot when you consider the position of the cue ball in the jaws of the corner pocket, and that's the type of a shot when you make it, it really pumps you up. Not that Steve needs to be pumped up at this point, because he's playing extremely well.
Especially when you recover from a bad position shot. See, when an opponent leaves you that 4 ball, you're more apt to make it than if you do it to yourself.
Well, we had a chance to talk with Steve a little earlier as he rolls along here.
Well, all these guys I played with since I was 17 years old. And that's a long time. That's 17, that's 35 years. And I know them since I was a baby. And that goes back a long way. And we traveled together on the road, and we did this and we did that. And we played each other hundreds of times.
Yeah, well, when he was a baby, there were Indians on this spot.
Now for the 9. And a 7-1 lead. Steve Mizerak, no babe in the woods, wins another. Cracks is Steve Mizerak with a 7-1 lead. Leads Larry Hubbart, the Miz, to break.
Very powerful break. I don't know if he's going to pocket a ball on that break, but once again, hitting the one ball very squarely, but not getting rewarded with the ball being pocketed. No, once again, Hubbart steps away from his chair, and I know that he has to be feeling very, very, very badly about his position.
Yeah, this, not only that, this is really a tough layout. The other rack, he had a connect your dots kind of situation, but this time he has to make this one and get to the two. It's a long shot, and he's losing 7-1.
But once again, that type of a shot, if he's able to put it down, will instill a lot more confidence into his body, and he definitely needs that. Rather hit roughly, but nevertheless found the bottom of the pocket. But once again, the cue ball not cooperating with what he wanted to do, finding himself now parked in front of the three. Notice the cue ball and the three ball very closely to one another. Now, if he happens to inadvertently move the three with either his hand or his stick or anything, it's a cue ball foul, or it's considered a foul. He has to be really concerned about that.
Well, it'll at least shark him shooting this 2-ball. You know, he really needs something easier than this to get started with.
Well, I want to tell you, from the position that he was in, he made a remarkable recovery.
But again, another tough shot. So you lose control of the cue ball.
Now, notice the position. Well, right now we really don't have the replay in front of us for us to go back on it, so we'll have to wait if in fact we ever do get it up. Now, on this particular shot, the three ball is here, the cue ball here. He has to cut the three into the side pocket, sending the cue ball around the table for position for the 4. So therefore, he has a lot of things he has to be preoccupied with in order to successfully negotiate this particular shot. 1, 2, 3 cushions around. Well, falling once again a little out of line for the subsequent ball, this time being the 4.
Yes. Once you get out of control with the cue ball in the rack, it's tough to get back in there because you keep having difficult shots and you're concentrating mostly on making this shot and taking wherever it stopped. And that's...
Okay, now he has options here. He can cut the 4 ball into the side, sending the cue ball 1, 2, 3 cushions around this area for position for the 5 here. And it looks like that's the route he's choosing. He looks like he overcut the 4, and now he's allowing Mizerak back at the table, something that he really didn't want to see, but what can you do about it? You know, you had a difficult shot, you did the best you could do. What more can we ask?
About another quarter of a revolution as that 4 ball just sits on the side pocket.
Well, it's just like Danny said, sometimes when you get yourself out of line, you just can't recover. You can't get back in line. It happens to all of us. That time it happened to Hubbart at a very inopportune time.
See how easy it is for the guy who's ahead? I mean, he just hit the ball, and the cue ball fell perfectly.
Well, Mizerak is like Liberace playing a piano. You know, he's doing everything effortlessly. Everything seems to be coming out beautifully for him. And Larry Hubbart looks like he's a butcher at a butcher shop. You know, he's cutting meat. His fingers are all butchered up, and he's having a real rough go of it right now. Notice the great cue ball control the master has. Not more than 8 to 10 inches from the object ball. Things seem to be playing very nicely for him and laying very nicely for him, I might add.
Ideally.
There's the 7 and in position for the 8.
Yeah, all we need to do now is choke this, and what I mean is to soft draw it back to the right of the 9 ball, playing position for the 9 in the lower left-hand corner. Once again, very nicely executed. Steve Mizerak, by the way, right now, it seems to be at the top of his game. And that spells big-time trouble for Hubbart.
For Steve Mizerak, it's as easy as an instructional video. He leads 8-1. We'll continue from the Grand Casino. He makes the 6 on the break. It avoids the scratch.
And has a shot. Not a good one, but he has a shot.
Okay, notice the position of the 1 and the 2 and the cue ball. If he pockets the 1 ball into the corner pocket, the cue ball will then go into the 2, and this was called a haphazard shot, but he doesn't really have much more offered to him right here, Danny.
Yeah, but again, if he makes this shot and hits the 2, I'm pretty sure he'll get a shot because the balls know who's winning. Hubbart might not get a shot on this, but he's gonna.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, drawing it on the monitor is simple, but executing it is another thing.
Well, you're undefeated up here in the broadcast booth.
Billy plays real good from up here. He does.
Now, this is another very interesting situation. If we can get the overhead on this particular shot, I'm going to draw up something for you here that he may have in mind. He may go 1 cushion, 2 cushions, 3 cushions, and up this way with the cue ball. It's a very, very difficult shot to execute. And if he elects to shoot this shot in that fashion, I'd like to see what happens to it. No, he opted to go another way.
Which wasn't as good as your way, but
who am I to argue with a 4-time U.S. Open straight pool champion and a Hall of Fame player? So
That's
therefore,
right.
I have to believe that he probably chose the right route and just didn't execute it as he wanted to.
Steve Mizerak went into the Hall of Fame in 1980. At that point, he was the youngest player ever to be inducted.
he's banking this ball.
Cross-side is...
Oh, no, he isn't. Boy, I thought he would bank it. This was the way to snooker himself.
You know, I totally agree with your assessment of that particular shot. I thought perhaps if he did bank it cross-side, all he needed to do was pocket the 4. And he also had the 8 of the 4 to pocket the 3. If he'd done it in that fashion, he would have probably
maybe
run the ball.
Maybe he's feeling sorry for Larry.
I don't think Mizerak's going to be feeling sorry for Larry.
Oh, nicely done. The 4 off the 5 with the kiss.
Well, you know, when things go wrong for one person, it just seems like they continue to go wrong, and this is exactly what we're witnessing here. Notice what's happening here. He's trying to either pocket the 4 directly into the corner pocket, or even come up with some sort of a safety off the hit on the 4. But he was able to pocket the 4 off of the 5, allowing him to stay in control of the table, and so important to do that. And now his destiny is once again in his hand. He's got a safe. But he's not going to come out of it with a safe. But this is a very long, difficult shot that Hubbart's confronted with, and especially when you consider the score.
Good news is Larry's back at the table. Bad news is he has to come down there for the 5 a long way.
This is like a nightmare, you know, a nightmare, and you wake up and you're still in it.
The pressure is the score is 8-1. He's feeling kind of inferior right now, and he don't need to miss another shot. And this is very missable, you know, due to the difficulty of the position. If you do make it, tough spot to be in. I don't envy this. Oh, great shot.
Oh, that was a great shot. I mean, that was truly a world-class shot. That shot may have been just as hard, considering how difficult it's been for him to win games. Talking about stop the bleeding, Pat? Well, that was certainly a case of needing that desperately just to stop the bleeding.
8-2. Larry Hubbart gets up off the chair to win his second game, and will continue.
Type of a deficit. It's very important. Matter of fact, it's absolutely crucial that you control the cue ball off of the break. Well, he's done that nicely enough, but he wasn't able to come up with the ball on the break hand. What Steve really does have a problem here is it's really a dilemma, actually. He doesn't have an offensive shot, and he doesn't have a safety, and that's the reason why there's so much indecision out there. What we have in front of us is rather something that really there isn't a solution to. I'm curious to find out what he does. So he has to be extra creative here. And notice the excellent control of the cue ball. Now that shot, for those of you out there who can't really appreciate the shot that he just executed, was really a great, great shot.
Hubbart didn't like it.
Everybody appreciated it but Larry.
So true, Pat, so true. Larry's really had his difficulties in this match, and Steve Mizerak hasn't made it any easier for him. Massing around the balls, successfully hitting the 1, and it looks like the cue ball may come to a rest. Things may be starting to turn.
No, he's got a shot.
He's got a shot, but it's by no means a very easy shot.
Yeah, but when you're losing 8-2, you want to see the guy totally snookered, because you just feel like he's going to make everything he shoots at. You know the feeling. You've sat there.
That's a great picture of where the cue ball was in regard to that corner pocket. And Mizerak really dealt with that situation very nicely, going away from it.
Yeah, he missed it on the full side.
You know.
Intentionally, by the way.
Now, here's the 1 ball. He can bank across side, but where's the cue ball going to go? It's going to hit this cushion. There's the 3, and there's the 2 down here. So therefore, he may have a problem playing position for the 2. So therefore, not only does he have to bank the 1 successfully, he has to make sure he ends up with a shot on the 2. Notice that he ran into the 3 with the cue ball, but fortunately, he was able to come up with a shot.
That's what kept him in line, running into the 3.
You know, whenever you find yourself confronted with a situation like that, I think what you have to do is you have to stay totally concentrated on pocketing the ball and just about disregard the cue ball, because you know you're going to go in or go around the 3. So what you really must do is focus on pocketing the ball, and I think if you do that, you'll be much more successful.
The fans focusing in on Larry Hubbart. He's got a little bit going now.
Well, don't count Larry Hubbart out of this match, because he didn't earn the name of the Iceman for no reason at all. You know, if he gets in stroke and if he's presented with the opportunities, don't be surprised if he's able to surmount this lead, Pat, because he's done that many times in his past.
But he must start making balls on the break.
Watch out for the 8. Watch out for the 8.
Uh-oh.
Well, he misplayed that somewhat. Had he hit the 8 farther behind or on the bottom of it, he may have found himself in back of the 8. Not that he isn't already, but he does have a shot on the 7.
What a tough shot.
Yeah, he certainly does have a tough shot.
If he didn't hit the 8, which he didn't want to do, he would have been 2 feet closer to that 7.
Well, this is just another test of character. That's all it is. It's a very lengthy shot, one that doesn't really fall in as regularly as we want it to, considering the difference in score makes this shot play even tougher. He's starting to find the center of the pocket.
Yeah, he's composed himself.
Well, let's not forget, Hubbart's a 2-time world 9-ball champion and the world 8-ball champion as well. So he's been to this dance before. And now he's about to win his 2nd straight game and close within 5 as Mizerak leads, but Larry Hubbart's won the last.
Balls on the break if he expects to surmount, you know, big leads like the one he's confronted with, and he does. He pockets 2 balls on the break, but he hasn't come up with a really makeable shot. It looks like he's going to have to play some sort of a safety here, and what I look for him to do is exactly this. If we can get an overhead view, I'll explain what's available to him, what may be available to him. Okay, notice the position of the 1 and the cue ball. If he banks the 1 down table, sending the cue ball to the bottom cushion and over in this area here, he may be able to walk away from this shot with a good save. But if he may not have the angle to do that. From my vantage point, it looks like he may have it, but he may not have it.
He might just elect to shoot, because you never want to lose trying to play a phony save. You'd rather go down swinging. That's what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
Oh, and he just barely escaped the foul as the cue ball came off the side pocket and the cushion and kicked back. So maybe the momentum and the flow of this match beginning to swing the way of the pride of Lake St. Louis, Missouri, Larry Hubbart.
There's no question about that. The momentum has definitely swung, and it swung in Hubbart's direction.
That's why it was a good shot to be offensive there, because he could keep it going now, keep Mizerak in the chair, and start putting a little heat on Mizerak.
9 ball is a game of momentum. One player will have the momentum, and then suddenly it'll swing to the other player. And the player that deals with adversity the best, the player that breaks the balls the best, usually comes out with the victory. Larry Hubbart, unfortunately, had to face a very, very decisive a score of 6 to nothing, and then 8 to 1 or 8 to 2. So therefore, you know, he really needs the momentum, but he needs to keep it. He can really ill afford to have that momentum swing one more time, because if he does, it might be history. And this is where I was alluding to before about the reminiscent factor, because once again, it's true. It's so true. You know it's true.
You don't know how to spell reminiscent.
Well, I told you before the telecast, you can't ask me difficult questions like that. It's not fair. It really isn't.
You know what it means, but you can't spell it.
Now, Danny has told us that he can spell the X factor, but the reminiscent factor we're not so sure about. Now,
I thought you reminisced about old romances and music and stuff like that, not about pool games.
Excellent shot, by the way, the cameraman gave us on that particular shot.
Now,
Hubbard made a pretty good one, too.
lots of shots. Now the 8.
Now, this is the type of a shot that I don't believe he can hold the cue ball. He looks like he's going to have to go down table and then back up table for position for the 9. And in doing so, he may run into a problem here. No, it looks like he struck it very nicely and is going to get rewarded for it. The Iceman seems to be taking care of his business, and maybe it's a little bit too late. That remains to be seen, Pat.
Well, 3 in a row for Larry Hubbart. Momentum now on his side, but he still trails Steve Mook.
Well, now, the 9. Oh, boy.
Almost, but he did pocket 1. I'll make it 2 balls on the break.
Now, there's something that's happening out there that I want to bring to the attention of the viewers, and that is the wing ball going in on the break the last 2 consecutive racks. Now, the wing ball is the ball that's on the end of the rack. If that ball finds its way directly into the corner pocket, that could spell big trouble for Mizerak. Even though he leads in the match 8 games to 4, if that wing ball continues to go in, that lead can be very easily surmounted.
And if he gets confidence that it's going in, he could start playing position on the 1.
Well, he's got to make the 1 here, and he hits the 1 and then plays the 5. But he buried the cue ball behind the 9.
There's the 1 ball, and there's the cue ball. There's the 9 ball, not allowing him to pocket the 1. He can go indirectly to the cushion, into the 1, and pocket it in that fashion. It's not an easy shot, but I don't think he has much more offered to him.
He doesn't have any options. That's the only one. He has to make this ball. I don't see any playing safe here. He has to make this 1, maybe rush the 2, and run out again. That's his best weapon right now.
Watch out for the cue ball.
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't come up with the pocketing the ball, but he didn't leave an offensive shot for Mizerak unless he can bank the 1 cross-side. But I really don't look for Mizerak to try to bank the 1 cross-side. I really look for Mizerak to play the 1 ball 2 cushions down table, elevating and trying to control the cue ball somewhere behind the 9. Let's see what he does with it.
Steve hasn't been to the table in a while.
Good shot. Good shot. He played that bank on the short side because if he misses it, he had a chance to save him. You don't want to miss that shot hitting this end rail because it will come around out and sell out.
Well, I think that he just went solely after playing the safety on that particular shot because he really didn't have much more offered to him. I do believe Hubbard can see the outside of the 1, and in this position that he's in right now, that's all he needs to see to pocket it in the lower right-hand corner pocket. Very difficult shot, but once again, really doesn't have anything more offered to him, so he's going to have to take what the table gives him. If he's able to pocket the 1, it'll carry natural position for the 2. No, he could see more of the ball than I thought he could see, so therefore he opted to play safe.
Oh, I can see the way he's bouncing around. He's feeling a little younger there. He ran over there to see if he snookered him. He's in this match. It's not over yet.
If Mizerak can see the left side of the 1, he can bank the 1 cross side. That'll carry natural position for the 2 also.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's able to do it. He desperately needs this shot. Well, not desperately, but considering the onslaught now that he's experienced from Hubbard, that shot would have been really
I think he snookered him. I think he snookered him.
He certainly did. That's an excellent view we have on the monitor right now. 6 ball in between both the 1 and the cue ball, not allowing Hubbard to successfully hit the 1 without going to a rail first. And that youth that Hubbard had gotten back into a strut, into a spirit, seemed to have been diminished somewhat with that particular shot.
Yeah, but he still has the dice, so he didn't get unlucky yet until it's Mizerak's inning.
1-2.
Oh, no, he didn't hit it.
He definitely needed to strike the one there.
You got to.
Really couldn't afford to give Mizerak ball in hand, trailing 8-4. I mean, that's very, very, very difficult to overcome that type of a error. But once again, you know, he was snookered, and he did his best to deal with it.
I didn't like the speed he hit it. I mean, he didn't give himself much chance. He should have whacked it and hoped to get lucky somewhere, and I don't know what he could have gained rolling and hitting it, but.
Well, Steve backed up the cue ball to put himself in position for the 2.
This isn't an easy shot, Pat. The position of the 4 behind the 8. The 8 is as big as a bowling ball right now. He's going to have to control the cue ball very nicely in order to come up with a shot on the 4.
Which he did.
Hurry.
He did.
He said hurry. I don't know if he's gotten down table far enough. That's a beautiful angle once again that we see. Barely, I believe.
He got it, I think.
Barely has a shot. Rather a little bit too close for me. But
No, I think he has the shot.
But I think, nevertheless, I believe he has come up with a shot. Excellent stroke, applying a little inside English on the cue ball, sending it away from the 8, and in perfect line for the 6. Mizerak seems to be back in control. He's leaning backwards, trying
That's
to
on the
help
50-yard line right there.
Yes, it is, but he's close enough, Danny, to the object ball to be able to pocket it with
Left-hand English go 2 rails. That's what he's doing.
little risk of missing it. Nicely done.
2 rails.
Exactly. And that type of speed ensured the accuracy of the shot. Very intelligent
What
player.
a great stroke.
Very, very intelligent player
Great
with a
stroke.
tremendous stroke.
Steve Mizerak ends a run of 3 straight by Larry Hubbart. And the Miz now leads 9-4, 2 away from the match.
So therefore, when you're blessed with a powerful stroke, you know, it can probably stay with you for a long, long time, and that's such a gift.
Maybe
Mizerak
100
has
years.
that gift. Mizerak has that gift. He has a wonderful stroke, but he didn't get much action off of that particular break.
No, he left the shot on the 1, position on the 2. He just has to stick right there, take the cut on the 2, go to the 3-1 rail. And it's easy from here. I'm talking about it with words. It's you know, it's a hanger. But out there right now, way behind.
Here's the position of the 1. Here's the position of the 2. If he stops the ball where he's addressing the table right now, all he needs to do is pocket the 1, play position for the 2, come up for the 3, which is here, drop down table for the 4, which is over here. That seems to be the route that he's going to take for the first 4 balls. Now, the 5 to the 6 may be a problem, but considering the position of the 5, he can drop nicely for the 6. Now, he has to make sure that he gets up table far enough on the shot. He wants to be above the 3 ball, not below it. Okay, he's made sure that he went up far enough.
Too close to the rail.
No, he's fine.
Straight in.
He's fine.
Well, why is he saying no, no, no?
Because he's losing 9-4, and he wanted something real simple.
Yeah, well, this isn't. Take a look at this. This is a little difficult.
I'll tell you what, if we have any time left, we're going to put you 2 on the table and see how you do.
Oh, we've been on the table many times in the past.
Many
And of course,
times.
we've experienced similar situations just like the one he's confronted with. Is straight in. He's got to roll it. He'll go straight down table. And narrowly missing the corner pocket. That's what he was really concerned about. But he did have a very viable shot on the 3.
The difficulty there was he had to cinch the 3 and get position on the 4. Now he's straight in on the 4, which makes it tough to get to the 5. He might have to roll that in and just take the cut on the 5.
It looks like he's going to have to go up toward the side cushion,
Past.
away from the 6, playing position for the 5 in the side, which he's done. But now he's in a rather awkward position because he can't roll this. He'll find himself out of position for the 6. So he's going to have to elevate some. And considering the position of the 6, now I believe he has a problem.
See, we call this struggling. In other words, when Mizerak got up just now and he got on the balls, it was bop, 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 looked easy.
No,
he is struggling. It's not looking easy.
Now, he has 3 options the way I see it. He can roll the 5, sending the cue ball into the 8, stopping the progress of the cue ball. He can, like, check his stroke on the 5, forcing the cue ball slightly to the right of the 8, accepting a little tougher shot on the 6, or he can stroke it and go in between the 7 and 8 and back down table for the 6. He's opted to roll it, using the 8 possibly to stop the progress, which he's narrowly missed the 8, but he still has some type of a shot on the 6. It's not an easy one. So.
Yes, but he may make the 9. This shot, natural speed, is coming close to billiarding that 9 right in that other pocket.
Well, let's see.
He just got to make sure he makes this ball. Don't miss now. He missed them both.
He missed both. I think you're right. He would have, but he got lucky at the other end and almost got the 9 down in that pocket as well.
Okay, here's another.
Now he's talking to Steve about that and a few of the fans, and that'll bring the smile back to the face of Larry Hubbart.
Again, he's got a shot on the 7, and he's going at the 9 again. I mean, you know, he's got a two-way shot again.
Yeah, this is a very interesting situation. If he was in great stroke and comfortable at the table, he would probably just play the 7 and play position for the 8. But like Danny said, he has a possibility of both pocketing the 7 and the 9 on this shot if he chooses to play it in that fashion. Let's see what he does with it. See, he elected to play the 7 and the 9, something that he really shouldn't have done. Had he been in good stroke, he wouldn't have done that, because when you put all your eggs in that basket, you may end up where he is right now without a shot on the 8. And that's exactly what he's done, and now he's awfully sad.
He's got a tough shot on the 8.
Yeah,
but
he certainly does.
The situation makes you try to do something like that. You want an easy win. You don't want to have to shoot 2 more balls from the end rail and all that. You want to make that 9 on that shot. But it doesn't happen when you're way behind.
He tried to simplify the situation that he was confronted with, and instead of simplifying it, he actually made it play even more difficult.
See, the senior tour, maybe, you know the saying, the first 100 years are the hardest. You know, I like to see a lot of us last that long.
Well, Hubbard wants to last at the table, but it's going to be a tough shot here.
He's confronted with a very difficult situation, Pat. I don't know what's even available.
Well, I think the way he's trying to address the cue ball, I think he's trying to stiffen the 8 ball and bank it cross-side. That's what I think he's doing. I don't know what else he has.
He may get a kiss on the shot.
See, he's stiffened it.
The 8 ball may find a position behind the 9. It looks like it's going to, yes, it has. It's found a position behind the 9, not allowing Mizerak to be able to pocket the 8 in the upper left-hand corner. No. So it's not, you know, the balls really aren't cooperating for Mizerak right now like they were in the beginning of the match.
He's going to try to bank it, I believe, cross corner.
It's going to be a safety bank. He's going to really, no.
He hit the 9. That's what he's going to do. I don't have any idea, but the way he shot that, it looked like he was trying to shoot the 8 straight on and stick the ball and get behind the 9, but
I don't think that was available.
No, it wasn't, but maybe he didn't see the 9 in the way, you know. You get old, your eyes go.
Well, Larry Hubbart can see the 8.
No, I think this would be a good time for Steve to take his break, because you know the momentum's swinging right now, and Steve had some problems out there. The balls really weren't cooperating.
Well, Larry Hubbart picks up a game. He now trails Steve Mizerak 9-5.
Hubbart's face. You know, it looks like he's starting to get very comfortable out on the table, even though he trails in the match 9-5. He has a much better, more satisfying look on his face than he did earlier in the match when he was trailing 6-0.
Well, that'll do that to you.
It certainly will.
He didn't make a ball in the break again, and this rack, you wouldn't get out with ball in hand. They're all tied up here. You got to be perfect on the 2. The 4 is tied up. But anyway, you don't always play position to make a ball. Sometimes you play position for a safe.
Okay, so Steve Mizerak with the push, the legal push shot after the break. So now it's Larry's call here.
Let's get an overhead on this. This is a very interesting situation, what we have here. Notice the position of the 1 in the cue ball. We have all these balls. Larry may try to go from the inside of the 1, sending the cue ball 2 cushions up table, somewhere in this position right here. And if he can do that successfully, then he'll put Mizerak in a little bit of trouble. But like Danny said, the balls are just so congested. Even if you get a shot, you don't figure to run the balls.
The window opened here. He's got a shot on the 1. This is what I call field goal position, or the window opens. He can go between 6 and 7. 7 and make this 1. And he has an angle to go 1 rail to the 2 in that pocket to his left.
In fact, Larry, after the shot, held up his cue and his hand in hand and just
He saw
gestured
the
to the
window
heavens
open.
and said, wow.
Yeah.
When is it going to stop? That's the expression and the body language that I interpreted coming from him. Very, very good
He overstroke
stroke.
it.
Now notice the 2 and the 3 in the center of the table. It looks like the 2 and the 3 are lined up reasonably close for a combination in the upper left-hand corner. And from my vantage point, I don't know if it's available or not.
No, the ball's hitting the 5. The 3's going into the 5.
Okay, then if that's the case, he'll probably just hit the right-hand side of the 2 and play it safe. No, he played the 2 in the side off of the 3. He got rewarded in pocketing the 2, but he got penalized with the repositioning of the 3.
Well, he has to make sure now when he kicks that he don't disturb that 4, because that's his salvation right now. The 4 is tied up. So you got to make sure you hit this 3. Don't give the guy ball in hand, and don't hit that 4.
It's a very difficult kick, and he's going to have his hands full just hitting this ball. He's opting to go 2 cushions out of the lower right-hand corner, shooting at it in this fashion, and successfully contacting the 3. And he did exactly what Danny asked him to do, not disturb the 4 from the 8.
And no ball in hand. And, you know, even though he has a shot on the 3, he can't get to the 4. But he can get positioned to play a safe.
It looks like he's going to play a safe right now. It looks like he's going to come off of the left side of the 3, repositioning the cue ball behind the 4 and the 8. Now he's going to try to position the cue ball behind the 4 and the 8.
Yeah.
And if he's able to do that, and Mizerak is unable to contact the 3, then he can get cue ball in hand. It doesn't appear that he's hooked Mizerak.
No, he's got an edge again. He might not be able to make it, but he can hit the edge, and he can come right back through that same spot. Billy, you ought to show it.
Well,
not much time.
The angle that he has, it looks like he can't hit the 3 directly. Now, he struck that a little too hard because he really ran the risk of disturbing the 4 and the 8, hitting it with the speed that he did. Notice finally the 3 ball coming to rest in really an optimum position. Here's the 3, and here's the 4. Notice the cue ball. Pocket the 3, draws straight down table for position for the 4. If it goes in this corner pocket, he has a shot.
Yeah, it goes.
Or he even has a combination possibility with the 9. So therefore, he has options.